everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brandon's Face, the podcast about a playlist. I am one half of your hosting duo. My name is Jonathan Beardsley, and as always, I'm joined by one of my best friends, fellow music nerd, and titular face of the podcast, Brandon May. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
I am basically amazing here, John. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get into this, but before we do, please like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. You can now find us on Spotify, which that's probably my favorite place to listen to us. I don't know about you, Brandon. And you can
Definitely.
now you can now find us on Instagram at Brandon's Face Pod, as well as our own website, brandonsface.com. Be sure to check all those out. Shoot us a message. Say hi. I'm very lonely over there. With all of that out of the way, you ready to get into this, buddy?
Yeah, man. We have a lot of new releases, but we also have a lot of old releases this week. I'm really excited to kind of go over some new and some old.
Yeah. It was kind of a dead week, and we got a lot more EPs than albums. So I kind of asked you to throw some extra stuff on, and I'm glad you did because I'm really excited to talk about that. So let's get into this. We're going to start with some of the singles and EPs. First up, we got Channel Tress with his Refresh EP. So he posted when this came out that this is pretty much just a collection of beats that he made on tour with Thundercat. He drew the cover art himself. He said he hopes people create something to this while listening to it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's very unpolished and raw, but I think the explanation and as to its creation kind of explains that. Reasons was my favorite of all the songs. It's perfect music to clean your house to. I don't know about you, but that's what I like to do.
Well, what's funny is I didn't get that. I didn't get that explanation or context behind this before going into it. I thought,
Got to get back on the social medias.
I don't got to do shit, homie. Look, this is obviously a little bit. I mean, my notes are written as if I had zero context because I didn't. This is a stylistic departure from what we're used to hearing from Channel. It's very good. I wasn't expecting this kind of shit. It kind of sounds like he made a bunch of beats that he was going to be using to mix into some DJ sets in the future, which I kind of really understand. The Chemical Brothers put out with their Brotherhood album, which was call it a greatest hits, although all of their deep cuts are also greatest hits. We won't get into that. But alongside that album on the CD release, not on the vinyl release, unfortunately, but on the CD release and the digital release, they put out something they called Chemical Electronic Battle Weapons. And it was a bunch of kind of random beats. Some of them were short, some of them were longer that they have used and I've heard in their live sets being used to kind of mix in and transition into some of their other songs. So I kind of really appreciate that. I really liked Reasons and I really liked Pathways. Reasons fucking hits though.
Yeah, that bass really fucks in that song. I love it. It's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, next up, we got Duckworth with a new one, Power, featuring Sean Ross. What did you think of this?
So this fucking slaps, man. It's a lot of fun. He's got a great flow. This is going to be a fucking party live. I wasn't expecting this much energy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he actually, I think as of yesterday, is on tour opening for Billie Eilish, and I know this one is in his set. It probably is a fucking banger live. This isn't one of my favorite songs of his, but I think it's really good. He has a pretty high output rate. I don't know if this one is one just to like release before a tour or if it's kind of the start of him releasing for a new album, but it's not bad. I fuck with it.
Yeah, I like it. Really good for him opening for Billy, although you and I both kind of commiserated on the fact that that last album that Billy put out wasn't as everything that we wanted, but really good for him opening for her.
Yeah, that it was a much more mature album than we were expecting. It didn't have a lot of like the avant-garde and experimental elements that her first album did, but I think it's proved to be almost as just as successful. Like the title track was a huge song on the radio last year, and I'm pretty sure she's already selling out arenas, which is fucking crazy for like 2 albums in. But I agree. That album didn't really hit me.
We'll see.
We will see. Next up, we got a new one from Puff the Band.
Yeah, we do.
Matilda. This one is fucking great, man. I really liked it. I liked their last single, but this one really piqued my interest in the upcoming album. we're just getting some incredible pop punk and emo music to start this year off, and I could not be happier. This is my favorite single they've released so far.
You've said it before, and I'll say it again. You like a little bit more punk in your pop punk, and I dig that, man. I think this really. I knew that this was going to kind of hit that spot for you.
Yes, it did. It did for sure. Yeah, they've been a band I've been anticipating the new album, but like I liked Robot like Writes a Love Song, but it didn't like blow me away. This one did. So they have my attention now. I'm very excited. That one comes out, when is that? Let me look. April 1st. So we'll be keeping tabs on that one. Hopefully this is the last single. I'm pretty much ready to go on that. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I'm just so excited for this. Their last album, Morbid Stuff, is just incredible. Basically everything they've released, I'm a fan of.
Yeah, I actually haven't gone back and listened to that one, so I'll have to check it out.
Listen to Morbid Stuff, man. It's a staple in our household. In fact, you mentioned that the Channel Trace album is a great album to clean your house to. I will counter that with Morbid Stuff. It is a high energy album.
I'll accept your challenge. My house always needs cleaning, so plenty of opportunities for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man.
Next up, we got Richie Hawtin with his Plastic Man project, and a little bit of Chili Gonzalez on the piano in this one with a new song, Contain in Key. Have you ever seen a Plastic Man show?
I have not. In fact, it's funny you bring that up. I went to my wife and I. We went to Escape from Wonderland in 2013, and Richie Hawtin was set to close the techno kind of tent area, and we ended up leaving that festival because it wasn't exactly what we wanted it to be, but early, so I did not get to see him, and it's probably one of the only reasons why I regret leaving that show a little early. And then every time he's been at Coachella, I have not been, and it's funny because I've been to like 10 of them. Well, not 10.
Mm-hmm.
How many? 7 of them? 7 of them. Maybe 6. And I've always missed him. So the day I get to see Richie Hawtin or a Plastic Man project show, I will be a very happy camper.
I caught one without knowing who he was. I can't remember if it was 2009 or 10 or 11. It was somewhere in that time frame. And it was interesting. It's very proggy, minimalistic techno. And I think when you're in the right mental and physical space to receive it, it's great. But I don't think it translates that well to recording. I'll
agree with you.
Yeah. I think that this track has Chili Gonzalez, who you and I both know from Octave Minds with Boys Noise.
Yep.
He's a world-class musician, and I thought this would be great when I hit play on it, but it's just kind of boring. It takes a little too long to develop, and once it does, it's almost over.
It's 4 minutes too long.
Yeah. This is I don't know, man. It just felt like he tried to do a little too much with it, and there was the potential for greatness in there.
I am a huge fan of minimal techno, but you're right. It's kind of like psychedelics. You got to have the right set and setting in order for it to really make sense.
Yeah. It's like a Spangle set. There's a name for people.
There's a name.
All right. Next up, we got Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever with their new one, Tidal River. Have we covered this band? I think we have, right?
Yes, we have. It's another band from. I'll give you one guess what country they're from.
Oh, they're fucking from Australia. Okay. Yeah, this one's okay, man. I didn't hate it. We've been covering a lot of good bands at the top of their game right now, so maybe that's why I'm a little underwhelmed by it. But I like the guitar in the back end, and for the most part, it's just a pretty straightforward indie song with some like surf rock melodies worked in. Not bad, not great. What'd you think?
So we covered their last single, and their last single, it was really bass heavy. And I don't know if you know this, John, but I'm a big fan of really good bass lines in indie music. It's one of the reasons why Interpol is one of my favorite bands. But this one didn't do it for me like their last single did. I did really like the lyrics in this song, and I do really like this band. They've released a couple of albums that I really enjoyed. We're going to be covering their album. It is out on 5/6 on May 6th. It should be a good album, but the song wasn't what I wanted it to be on my first or second or third listen. But I think you're right. I think we're covering a lot of bands at kind of peak greatness, and I think that could be causing a little bit of It's kind of like when you smoke a bunch of weed and your tolerance gets high, you know. Smoke some outdoor after that, then then you go, this didn't do shit to me, but like it kind of did, you know. So it's one of those things. But I feel you.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I'll add that. Is that already on our release calendar on the website?
It is not. It only goes through April, I believe. So after this week's episode, I will be updating our release calendar.
Look forward to that. Okay, next up we got another new one from Odessa, Better Now, featuring Maro, I'm not sure. What do you think of this?
So you either die an EDM legend or you live long enough to see yourself become a pop star. This is a great song, and I enjoyed it, but it's not Odessa.
Man, I see. I like their newer songs. You seem to have been kind of like tepid on the first two singles. I liked the Bronson album that came out in 2020, but I just wanted to hear some new Odessa, and this satisfied me for that. It sucks
scratching that itch,
satisfying you. Yeah,
I don't know, man. I've been listening to Odessa since their very first album. What's it called? I even forget what it's called at this moment. I think it's not In Return, is it? Summer's gone. Summer's gone. And In Return is just an incredible album. And then, A Moment Apart that they released in 2017 was great too. But it's pop music, bro. And I love pop music, but maybe this should be a different project if they're going to go a different route. Although, again, I will reiterate, I did enjoy this song. It's not a bad song at all. I did enjoy it. It just doesn't scratch the Odessa itch for me. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but I don't think that I am.
I'm not passionate enough about this song to say that you are. You might be right, but I don't think we have a new album announcement or anything like that yet, but it seems like we're headed that direction.
I'd be surprised if this wasn't some sort of album rollout. So we'll see.
Yeah, me too. Okay, next up, we got a new one from the Palms with their new one, Fire. I thought this sounded like Diet Portugal the Man. Am I wrong?
Isn't all indie music Diet Portugal the Man?
2%. Yeah.
I think we may have reviewed one of their last EPs or something along those lines. It was CA Baby / Diamond Hands. I don't know what you want to call that. Mm-hmm. And we were underwhelmed with it, but I think this is kind of a return to form for them. I think that I don't know, man. If you put any indie music up towards Portugal the Man, it's always going to fall short. But I'm kind of a Portugal the Man stan, so
it's where my head went instantly for some reason. I do like the main like electric guitar riff when it comes in, but probably not one I'll be revisiting. I'll just listen to Portugal the Man.
Fair. Oh man, what's your favorite Portugal the Man album?
We actually covered you.
Oh, we did. That's right.
It. Yeah, the one obviously it's the fucking most popular one. The one with
Woodstock
the Car on Fire. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but you showed me that the deep cuts of that album are actually much better than the singles. So
far better.
That's easily my favorite. But
what
I like a lot of their early stuff too.
What I may do is put on the show notes. What I'll do is I'll put in the show notes the Lollapalooza performance that I think it was 2019, but I just recently watched it and it is fantastic.
Oh yeah. Definitely throw that in because I haven't seen it and I want to check it out.
They do some really great covers. It is is top notch.
That sounds awesome. Okay, you ready to move on?
I'm ready. Are you?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. So next up we got Joey Badass with Head High. This is what I wanted, man. Just Joey Badass spitting some bars over some boom bap. Like that's it. The Revenge was super disappointing. This isn't a top 10 Joey Badass song by any means, but the beat feels like a perfect canvas for him. Static Selected deserves an equal amount of credit, I think, for this one. I think when he just gets in his groove and gets introspective like that, he snaps into something. Like he's very Lupe Fiasco like when he gets there. Sadly, still no official album announcement, but like Odessa, it has to be coming soon.
Yeah, man. There he is. This is like you said, way better than the Revenge. For what it's worth, I think the Revenge is going to be featured on some sort of video game, and if he does release an album with any of the upcoming singles or anything like that, I don't think that the Revenge is going to make it on there. I think he actually wrote it for a video game.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, so we'll see. And I will reiterate, Static Selected did a just bang up fucking job on this beat, man.
Oh yeah. He's in top form, man, and he's been around for so long. His work with Code of the Friend last year on To Kill a Sunrise.
I was just gonna say,
beautiful.
Man. I was just gonna say, man, he's been on the top of his game, and that was the example that came to my mind was his Code of the Friend album. Was it that last year? Man, that guy's output is insane. We haven't heard from him in a few weeks though, so we'll see.
We already have one album this year. Yeah, well, we should be getting another soon.
Yeah, just give it a couple weeks. Him and Currency, they're every other month, you know.
Yeah,
just for good measure.
They keep the Alchemist and Static Select as bills paid for sure.
You can't hate that because they've got to pay their bills.
All right, you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
We got a new one from Khalid, Last Call. This kind of feels like a Paint by Numbers Khalid song, but I like it. His falsetto and harmonies are beautiful. The beat's solid. It's good, but it's not as good as anything from that last EP he dropped a few months ago. No album announcement yet, but he, did his whole Instagram. This is the start of a new chapter, all that shit that all artists always say when they start releasing new music. So I'll keep you posted on that. But I told you that EP would be probably the last time you hear him that unapologetically R&B. And I think I was right, because this is still R&B, but very much more the pop R&B he's known for. How did you receive it?
You say that this is a Paint by Numbers R&B Khalid song, but I fucking loved this, bro. I actually couldn't stop listening to this song. I don't know if you've trolled my artist recently listened on Spotify, but I'm pretty sure this song came up every day for me for the past week. So I really, really enjoyed this, and I think I enjoyed it more than his last EP, because it is it honestly, dude, it just reminded me of an Usher song. It's just quintessential pop R&B, bro.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm not trying to sell it short. It's a very good song. You knew that was like, for me, that was a gift from the gods that nobody will ever be able to top. Like, for my personal taste, I'm a huge fan of his main albums. I'm not expecting EP Khalid on this. I'm expecting album Khalid, and the guy's what's he at right now in the world in terms of ranking on Spotify? It's got to be top 20.
Let's see.
26. He's number 26 right now in the world.
Good for him, bro.
So, and he's still like super young. I want to say younger than 23.
You heard it here first, everybody. Khalid wrote his last EP for John Beardsley.
Let's just move on there, because I don't want anybody to think any differently. All right.
Fair.
Next up, we got new release from Jack White. 2 new songs, Heidi Ho featuring Q-Tip and Queen of the Bees. You agree that Heidi Ho is just garbage, right?
All right. So
please tell me you agree,
let me put it to you like this. I will give Q-Tip a little bit of credit here. Q-Tip is not afraid of weird collaborations. He has done collaborations with the Chemical Brothers, which a lot of rappers do a lot of collaborations with EDM artists, which we'll get into later on this episode. But Q-Tip does it differently, and I think that he really does shine in collaborations like this. All of that being said, this song is garbage.
Okay. Thank you. I was worried there for a sec. I do agree with you. I think Q-Tip is doing all that he can, and I think that he's used to being in weird spaces like that. But I don't know. I'm not really mad at this release. I thought Queen of the Bees was okay. You said it best, man. You said every other project he releases seems to be good. Right now, it seems to be every other song, because Taking Me Back and Fear the Dawn were both just outstanding.
Bangers.
But
they were bangers.
It feels like 1 out of every 2 is just not great.
Here's what I'll give you about Queen of the Bees, John. If Queen of the Bees was released in 1973, it would be all over the radio.
Okay, what does that mean though? What if Good Kid, Mad City was released in like 1921? You know,
I think it means that
it'd be all over the phonographs, bro.
people would be telegramming about it. No, I think what it means is that he followed a very important formula in rock and roll history, and I think that it's very Rolling Stones meets meets the Doors a little bit on this song. I'm not saying that it is that caliber, but it is that sound, that style, that formula. It's a classic rock song.
Yeah,
If somebody showed me this song and was like, "Yeah, bro, this is this is Wings. This is Paul McCartney's old band. Just he's not singing," I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." But it's not. It's Jack White, and it was released in 2022.
well said. I agree. I'm still really looking forward to hearing the album because I imagine we're gonna get one or two more of those melt your face off guitar songs like "Taking Me Back" or "Fear of the Dawn," and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, let's hope.
Okay, this next one's a fucking surprise. Um, we have a new one from Dave with Starlight. So I was hoping to show you Dave's first two albums before he started releasing new music, but I'm a little too late. We were both put on to him after his flaming guitar solo Brit Awards performance last month, and I've had his discography on repeat ever since then. If you've been lurking my recently listened to it all, we'll break down his album from 2019 later on in this episode. But as far as the song goes, I really like it. The sample is super simple. He flows really well over it. He's quickly becoming one of my current favorites. Did you like this?
I really enjoyed it. This dude's flow is amazing, and I'm going to reserve basically all of my other thoughts until we get to his album.
I like it. Okay, let's move on to a fucking punch in the face from Meshuggah with their new one, Light the Shortening Fuse. This was good, man. For the most part, the song is just relentless chugging, and what's not to love about that? It's good shit.
What I love about Meshuggah is that they are able to kind of get that chug, chug, chug sound and still change time signatures once or twice in a song and have it make a lot of sense. There's a lot of bands who do try to fuck with time signatures because Tool does it and they're just bad at it.
Who?
But right. But I really liked this song. We actually have a new album from them coming out. I believe it is called Immutable, which I think is a really cool band album title, dropping on April 1st.
Oh, fuck yeah. So we're going to get some good rock that day. Well, I'll add that and we'll have Pup and Meshuggah April 1st. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. This I think is going to be a good one, man. I think it's going to be I've been just starved for metal in 2022. It's already March, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later in this episode too. So I'll save my words.
Get the cargo shorts and sleeveless shirts out, buddy. I'm ready.
Let's fucking go.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have one I've been fucking looking forward to for a while. We got BENNEE with her new one, the Lychee EP. You know I've been excited about this one for so long.
I sure do.
I'm going to just dive in. I'm usually worried about being disappointed when I'm anticipating something this much, but I knew she'd deliver, and she did. This is a perfect follow-up to her 2020 album, Hey UX, which was also my favorite pop album of 2020. This is on the same level as like Deb Never's EP from last year to me. It's experimental bedroom pop with some trap influence. I'm just a big fan of the way this new generation of up and coming artists are reshaping the whole genre, you know? It's only a matter of time before it crosses over. This is a no skips for me, and it's hard to even pick a standout, honestly, but I think she did a great job picking the singles. Beach Boy and Doesn't Matter, both fantastic. I think Kenny Beats did a great job with the production on Soft Side. That's been kind of the earworm one I've been listening to a lot.
Oh, that's Kenny Beats.
Yeah, he produced that one, which, like I told you when we, I think, first covered her, she did like a In the Cave on his YouTube, and that's like a very fun video to watch if you've never seen it. But yeah, you get to see her kind of more experimental side at the end of this EP with Makes You Sick, which parts of it feel kind of built for TikTok or something like that, but I love to just see her kind of unchained and just being creative like that. I think this EP works on every level. the timing of the release is great too. It's just perfect springtime music. I loved everything about this. What did you think?
So what's funny is "Make You Sick" was my standout. Not, and I didn't even. Now that you mention it, I can see how parts of that song could be used for TikTok. But is it weird that I got from this album or EP everything that I wanted from Billie Eilish's album?
Not at all.
This
No,
that
no.
as every time I've listened to this EP this last week, which is an uncomfortable amount, I think. It's just fantastic, man. The way she plays with different styles, different elements. It almost feels like modular while still fitting together really well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like some parts of
Yeah.
different songs could like fit in each other. I don't know, man. It feels really good. I liked everything on this. There's no skips. I didn't have any skips. "Make You Sick" was definitely the song that kept me coming back. And it wasn't that I kept playing that song. It's the fact that I needed to restart it to listen to the whole album to get to "Make You Sick." So I really
Yeah.
liked this.
Yeah. Dude, fuck yes. I'm glad you loved it as much as I did. I was hoping you would. I
Told my
was
wife, I
glad.
was like, you got to listen to this BENNEE EP. Like,
Yes, yes. Dude, if you go back through our text long enough, you'll see like sometime like mid last year, I sent you her first album, and I was like, you and Jess need to listen to this. It's so fucking good, and it's just fantastic, man. I love it, man. I'm glad you're a big fan of hers as well. I can't wait to see what she does, and I'm glad we finally got like an official release of hers to cover together.
this is good. I liked your comparison to Deb Never, because you're right. It is bedroom pop with some trap influences, but I really like. She probably had a conversation with Kenny Beats and was like, "Don't make it too trap because I don't want that." And I think
He just did one song on it. I
right,
think,
but
yeah,
I think Kenny Beats is really kind of going out of his way to stylistically improve himself because again, he produced the entire Idols album, which to me still
yes.
just fucking blows my mind. But the fact that he's really trying to get out of his comfort zone, I think is really awesome.
Yeah, he's one of my top 5 producers in the game right now. Every time I see his name on something, I at least hit play, even if I don't know the artist he produced. He's that good, honestly.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we got another banger, man. Klangstoff with their new Ocean View EP. This one is flawless.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Everything I
jump in if
wanted.
you don't mind. My
Please
man.
do. Please,
This is
please do.
This is
Please do.
super chill and everything I wanted out of them. This is just ethereal indie rock. The only problem I have with this EP is that it is not long enough. They have the ability to create, and this is a unique ability because everybody tries to do this, especially in this kind of corner of indie music that they're in. They have the ability to create atmospheres that seasoned musicians struggle with, and it feels almost like second nature to them. This band is fucking special. Silver Cloud is just incredible.
Yes, dude, I agree, man. This one, I mean, your notes and mine are very, very similar. Like we were right in thinking that this would sound a lot closer to the Close Your Eyes to Exit band that we fell in love with, and it is, man. This is, even though it's only 4 songs, and I feel like I'm still processing most of it. It's just great. And you know, I don't dig into lyrics very often, but I always find their lyrics really compelling. It's God, man. It would be hard to even pick a favorite. Like Silver Cloud is great. I love Fool's Rage. I think that one,
It's a
like
good
the
one.
drums on it are so fucking good, man. They just have this blend of like kind of electronic and just live band music that I know that's not anything new, but the way they do it just feels new to me, and I really enjoy it.
I'm telling you, man, this band does things that seasoned musicians struggle with.
They use their electronics for atmosphere, not always for like a synth lead. And I think that's the difference. They know how to build worlds with their music, and they do it over the course of only 4 songs here. That's fucking impressive.
It really is. It really is, man.
Okay. Hopefully that's leading to something else, man, because I would love a whole album of this type of shit.
Oh, you and me both.
Okay. Next up, we got another new one from Rez with Subtronics, Puzzle Box. What did you think of this?
This is bassy and it is bouncy and it's exactly how I like my res.
Yeah, I every time I think I've outgrown like the super dark, bassy, heavy music, she just drops a banger and pulls me back in. This one is great, man. It feels like a real collaboration too. I can hear as much subtronics in it as I can hear res, and I really like that.
Yeah, I dug this one. It's good.
I think like portions of this one are going to charity or something like that. I should have looked into it further before saying that, but
Hell yeah.
yes, look into that one on social media if you're listening to this, because I think it was for a good cause.
That's awesome.
And it was very soon after her recent album. I wonder if she's playing this one on tour already. I wouldn't be surprised.
Knowing Rez, she's probably been playing it on tour for years.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, next up we got Nigo and Pusha T, Hear Me Clearly. So Pusha T is 2 for 2 this year, man. And it doesn't look like he's going to miss anytime soon. Every bar of this song is delivered with sniper-like precision. He keeps saying he's going to have the best album of the year, and I believe him. On the Nigo side of things, this is much better than the Kid Cudi collab we got. And I've really liked 2 of the 3 singles he's put out so far. So I guess I'm looking forward to his album too. What did you think?
Push's flow is just unmatched.
Yeah.
He just has, I don't know, man. He has it. Whatever it is, he has it. I really liked this one, and Push is going to release an incredible album, something that's going to probably be talked about for a long time.
Yeah, he is without a doubt the greatest luxury street rapper of all time.
Luxury street rap. I like that.
Coin it.
Post luxury street rap. Let's talk about that.
That's our first shirt idea right there. Okay. Let's move on. We got Moray featuring Corday. That's kind of funny. Okay, with their new one, Still Here. I thought this was solid, man. Moray's voice pairs really well with Corday's flow. It's very laid back, very soulful. It honestly probably should have been on Corday's album. It's better than a few tracks that made it on there. I enjoyed it. What'd you think?
I mean, Corday and Moray are coming at us with the chill ass, jazzy, easy listening, man. I really like this.
Oh, yeah. I should have known that was going to be right up your bag.
Yep. Big fan of jazz. Today you learned.
You are Ryan Gosling in La La Land.
Hey, man, I was one of the ones that actually liked that movie. So
me too. I don't admit it very often, but me too. So
well, you've admitted it on the air.
Yeah, I won't leave you on an island. I can't do that.
It was a good movie, bro. People just hate for the sake of hating.
Yeah, it's a really, really good movie. We'll do. Stay tuned for our La La Land pod after this. Okay, let's move on. We got Sir Sly with a new one, Spine Curves. Not at all was what I was expecting sound-wise from a new Sir Sly song, but I don't hate it. It's just different. What do you think?
I think it kind of brings them back a little bit to it kind of mixes the Rise and Fall of Loverboy with some of their older stuff, like what is that, Running from the Devil song? I think it kind of mixes those two styles. I liked it. It was good. I kind of have the feeling that this is just going to be a one-off single, and we shouldn't expect an album of music like this. But I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to hear a whole album of this style personally, but I think you're right. I would not be expecting a new album from him or them this soon after their last one, but it's a decent track.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, next up we got Tinashe and Channel Tress, Hit Me Up for a Good Time. This was a song from the deluxe edition of her album 333 that came out last year. We didn't end up covering that full album. It was pretty good. There's a Wax Motif song on there that I think you'd like, but it's another one of those long experimental R&B albums that I know you love so much. So I think that's why I refrained from throwing it on last year. I'm glad we got a channel feature this week, because as happy as I was to get that new release from him, I was bummed his voice wasn't on it. Like,
yeah, I was just going to say, man,
that ties it together. This is a fun song, and it has that signature Channel Tress bounce to it.
Yeah, this is the Channel Tress I know.
Yeah, this sounds more like him than anything on the EP, even though the EP is not bad for what it is.
Right. Yeah, man. This is good. It's good. What's funny is Wax Motif released an album, but you and I liked probably one out of the 4 singles that he released, and I decided to not even listen to it. So I'll listen to a Wax Motif and Tinashe collab because that sounds wildly interesting.
I will throw it on after we clear the playlist. It's a really good song. I enjoyed it.
Sounds good, man.
Okay, speaking of some interesting music here, we got, how do you say this? Rodad?
Roadhad. I don't know.
Roadhad. Alternation EP. What do you want to say about this?
This is masterful execution of real techno. There's so many layers. There's the bass lines are just so pure techno. This is fucking great. I loved this. As like a techno purist fan, I really loved this.
I knew you would. I knew within 1 minute of listening to this EP that the artist was from Berlin, because this is just quintessential German techno. It's very dark, very heavy, very minimal. You can almost hear the jaws clenching in this. I don't listen to a lot of minimalistic techno, but I thought it was pretty good, honestly.
I'm glad you liked it. I know it is. It's almost like jarring with how minimal it is, but I don't know, man. I dig it. I dig Roadhead. They're really good.
Yeah, I followed him, or I think it's just one person. I followed him on social from the Brandon's Face account, and been looking at some of the footage from his live shows, and they look fucking insane.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think he hangs out at Tresor a lot in Berlin.
I want to hang out at Tresor a lot.
Right?
Oh man. I guess I got the whole like emo era of getting to hang out at a bunch of shows a bunch, so I can't be sad that I'm not getting the also experience a German year abroad where you just get to do that shit every day.
Yeah, man. Imagine the German emos who are jealous that you got to hang out with Haley Williams.
I'm available for interviews.
Ask me anything.
All right, let's move on. We got a new one from, how do you say this? Jabrar? I'm going to ask you every night.
I don't know.
How do you say it?
I don't know.
Why do you keep adding these people? I don't know how to say their names, Brandon.
Well, I'll jump in with that.
Got Jabrar, got Roadhat. You and your crazy names. All right, go for it.
All right, man. Well, I just thought it was interesting that Yellow Claw and The Game collaborated. I don't follow Jabrower. I don't know how you fucking say that shit, but I do follow both Yellow Claw and The Game. I don't often listen to Yellow Claw, but I will throw something on that has a collaboration between a dubstep artist and a known gang-affiliated blood. So
Fair.
I thought that this was terrible and fantastic at the same time. What did you think?
The same, minus the fantastic part, man. It's a big skip. I'm not a fan of Yellow Claw.
I thought it was interesting, at least.
No, I'm not mad at you for throwing it on. It just, sometimes they sound like Major Lazer, sometimes they sound like Flosterdamus, but none of the time do they sound like something I want to listen to. Super
fair.
Okay, let's quickly move on, please. We got, okay, so got a few songs from Rex Orange County here. Best Friend, Sunflower, and Loving is Easy. I threw these on here because his new album drops this week, and I wanted you to hear them before then. I know they're somewhere in the vast sea that is your Listen to Next playlist, but they needed a Disneyland Fast Pass to the front of the line.
Have you looked at that playlist? Because it's a mess.
God, no, Brandon. God, no. I'm pretty sure my computer would crash if I tried to open it.
It's 75 hours right now.
Sure.
I like
simply
music,
put,
man.
Yes. Yeah. Big fans of music, apparently. Check out his LimeWire account. So these songs are pretty much the reason I'm a fan of Rex. I was really excited for you to hear them and what you thought of them. So what did you think?
This dude is extremely talented. Sunflower is fantastic.
Yes.
It's got me really stoked for the album. I'm really excited for Who Cares, because I super do. So
Yeah, me too. All three singles off of that have been great. He actually released a new one today that I didn't add yet, mostly because the album comes out Friday, but he released the one with Tyler the Creator today, and it is A plus, A plus.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to it until the album comes out
I knew
tonight,
you wouldn't want to.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. Yeah. I listened to it 10 times already.
I'm
So
sure you did.
it's worth waiting for.
Cool, man.
I also sent you that video of him playing Best Friend live at Glastonbury a few years ago, right?
Yep.
Dude, like the fact that a pretty much indie pop guy like this can put on a show like he does with
Everyone was singing it. Everyone in the crowd was singing it.
Yeah. And you would imagine most of those people don't know the song going into it. Like his songs have that ability to just be picked up, and the horns just, when you listen to the recording of it after seeing that video, you're like, oh yeah, this is totally a live festival closer. Like this is a massive song.
It's a banger.
Yeah. All three are great. Sunflower is my favorite of the three as well, though. So I'm glad you like that.
Sunflower, Best Friend is good. Loving Is Easy is good. This dude is very, very talented.
Super good. Super good. Okay. Let's take a jarring turn to hell really quick. We got Bleed This Earth, the Slow Decline EP. Talk to me about this.
Oh man. All right. So I threw this on for a very specific reason. That reason is that I am starving for good metal. And one of the things that I really love about my experience in metal music is that a lot of the bands that I used to listen to were just super fucking raw. You could tell that Dying Fetus released Grotesque Impalement from their fucking garage. Like that wasn't recorded in a recording studio with a producer and a sound engineer. This was three dudes who got in a garage and decided to play super fucking heavy music. And I came across this album somehow. I don't know how I did. They have 15 monthly listeners on Spotify. But guess what, dude? I've also been getting into doom metal. And this just kind of fit exactly what I was looking for. Really bad, really raw, really just doomy fucking metal. And again, it's not good, but it's great. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but it's just kind of where I'm at right now with metal.
I'm going to follow your logic and say it makes all the sense in the world and it makes no sense at all, Brandon. I was going to ask you if there was a name for this type of metal because I don't think I've heard this exact style before, but I looked at their page. No, they are described as melodic funeral doom in their bio, which I think is just fantastic. Incredible subgenre name. A plus. Like you said, I think the music's okay. It's super fucking heavy. Personally, I like my metal a little bit faster, but it wasn't bad, man. I was actually surprised at how much I liked it. And I think what I liked about it is what you said, just that rawness. It's nice to hear some bands still have that.
Yeah, man. You can tell that they have a mic right up to that cymbal, and it is loud. I don't know if you've ever listened to any early Opeth.
Oh yeah.
Blackwater Park. This vocalist sounds like that too. I can't pronounce his name for the life of me, but he sounds like that dude a little bit. And if you go back and listen to Blackwater Park and listen to those fucking deep growls, and then you go back to Bleed This Earth, you'll hear the similarities. He sounds very good. The vocalist is the shiner on this album. We'll get more into doom metal later in this podcast, but we can move on if you're ready.
I am ready because yes, we will be talking more about it shortly. And how many listeners did you say they have?
15.
Oh my God, that's criminal for a band this good.
Oh, I'm sorry. They have 141 now. As of last week, they had 15.
Wow. The Brandon's Face rub is working.
It's gotta
really getting we are a launching platform.
Advertise with us, please.
Okay, let's move on to our last single of the month, or week, I should say. And that is Blast and Zakari Sometimes. This is a good track. It's not really the kind of track I'd start playing on purpose, but if it comes on shuffle, I'm not really mad at it. I still don't know who Blast is, but he's been on a few good songs recently that we've talked about. Zakari is kind of always a mixed bag. Most people know him for doing the chorus on Love by Kendrick Lamar. and he's got a few good solo songs too, but he's probably like the most slept on member of TDE. I think he's got potential. The song is interesting. I think the violins at the end make the instrumental way better and probably should have come in way earlier. What were your thoughts?
I also liked the violins at the end because I listened to it again today because all my notes say are it's okay.
That's fair, man. You don't have to write more than that if that's all that comes into your head.
It's okay.
That is a You've gotten a few of those reviews from me over the past few months, I'm sure. All right, buddy, you ready to move on to the albums?
Oh man, I'm so ready. Let's move on.
Let's do it. We got Bob Moses with their new one, The Silence Between. I was so glad this actually came out the day that I thought it was.
Right.
Yeah, because God,
I realized why I got confused.
Why was that?
The pre-order for the vinyl is released on, it starts shipping on 4/29, and I thought, and when I saw that, I immediately recognized that day in my brain as, oh, that's the album release. Turns out I was super wrong. So,
you dumb slut. All right, I'm gonna let you go first on this one, Brandon.
Dwight, you ignorant slut. All right, let's talk about Bob Moses for a second. Bob Moses is a two dudes, and they have named
and a hat
and a hat. You can't forget the hat. The hat's really silly, but it's at this point it's iconic. Bob Moses is two dudes who are named Bob Moses because they apparently like New York City, and the guy who designed, the architect who designed New York City, was named Bob Moses. So I have a almost like huge emotional connection to this band. My wife and I just fucking love this group of musicians. They tour with a bassist and a drummer, so you can listen to the music and feel that their live sets are probably, they're really special. My wife and I have seen them twice together. Yeah, twice. Yes, twice together. We saw them open for Rufus du Sol, and we saw a headlining set at the Palladium. And I saw them alone at a festival. I have a huge emotional connection to Days Gone By and Battle Lines, which are two of their previous albums. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting this album to be quite as good as it is. They have done a couple of stylistic departures on a couple of the songs, and they've really opened themselves up sonically to new avenues, new atmospheres, but they've still stayed themselves. I fucking loved this album. It is high Bob Moses. It is the height of what house music potentially can be in the future. I fucking loved this. Loved Brand New, Time and Time Again, Hanging On. I think it's Ordinary Friends, that weird one, right? Yeah, fuck yeah, man. This album just fucking hits. No skips. I didn't hate or dislike any of these songs. I mean, it's a really good album, man. I didn't rate it. I didn't give it a standout, but if I had to right in the moment, I think I would say Time and Time Again is probably my standout.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that about their name. That's a really cool story.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I've been hesitant, I feel like, to accept them as an upper tier EDM artist for some reason. I don't really know why. I've always thought that their music was good, but I don't know. Maybe at the time I thought it was a little overrated or something. I'm not really sure. But I've learned over time that I was wrong. I still wasn't like a huge fan of theirs, but I was definitely coming around on how good they were. And Desire was one of my top played songs of 2020 when I went back and looked, because I was like, I feel like I listened to that album, and that's the reason I don't really like listen to them that much since then, because that was kind of a disappointing album. And I tend to do that with artists. I guess when we were talking about Cascade last, and there was Atmosphere before Automatic, and Atmosphere just kind of turned me off, and I ended up missing how good Automatic was. I'm glad I didn't really ignorantly ignore this one, because this one was really fucking good. It made me come to see the light in terms of their greatness, I guess. From the first track, not even halfway through, Seen It Coming, I knew this was going to be great. Like you know a great album within the first song, I feel like. And I said I didn't like their last single as much because it didn't have the guitars. Well, this album has plenty of the fucking guitars.
Plenty of guitars.
Yeah. You're right, man. There's not a bad song on this album. Love Brand New is going to be the song I think it's remembered for. That's an instant best of song, in my opinion.
Classic.
It's got everything I've grown to love about their music. And I've only listened to this album all the way through 3 or 4 times, but it's already moved into the top spot for my electronic albums of the year so far. And I think this is the first release this year in this genre that's actually surpassed my expectations for it. And that's why I'm liking it so much. I gave this one an 8 out of 10. Love Brand New is my standout.
Love Brand New is a fantastic song.
Yeah, that might be my favorite song of theirs, but I'll have to go back and confirm that first.
I'm telling you, man, Days Gone By is a fantastic song. In fact, I'm gonna throw next week on the playlist. I'm gonna throw a song of theirs that was remixed. I just every time it comes on, I have to make sure I listen to the whole thing. So I'll throw that on next week, and
please do.
We'll talk about that.
I'm excited. Hell yeah. Okay, next up we got Dave with his debut album from 2019, Psychodrama. So I threw this on to continue your education in UK rap music. I'm pretty new to this album as well. I heard it for the first time about a month ago, but I've listened to it about 10 times in full since then. It's not that I think it's really a classic. I personally don't. I think it has a few great songs on it, and it does a great job showcasing the artist he would grow into on his second album. But I thought it was a necessary step in the journey for you to hear. And mostly because it has his most successful song to date with Location featuring Burna Boy, which is honestly a song I'm surprised didn't have some more American crossover. The beat kind of sounds tailor-made for like a Drake remix or something like that. The whole album honestly sounds really polished for someone with so much raw potential at the time. And I think that's what set him apart from his peers so quickly. I only see him taking this genre even further. Like him and Stormzy feel like the Pac and Big or Jay and Nas or Kendrick of Cole of their generation and region. And this is definitely like one of the quintessential albums in that. What did you think of it?
I absolutely loved the concept of a psychotherapist kind of breaking down walls to create emotional writing and having that being portrayed through hip hop. This guy has a flow that really surprised me. Like I said, I was going to reserve my thoughts of Dave from, I think it was Starlight or Sunlight. Dave tackles on this album some very relatable and very heavy tones and themes. I think that's something that's lacking in music as a whole. And what I mean by that is that a lot of artists kind of touch on really heavy things and just kind of lightly kind of taps it. But like Dave went in, bro. He really goes into it on this album.
Full send.
And he's very direct about a lot of this. Look, man, Black, Purple Heart, Disaster. These are all fantastic songs. Leslie in particular was very good. It's mostly just him, just him talking about a scenario and having that scenario kind of circle back all the way around towards the end of that song. How long is it? It's a very long song.
11 minutes.
Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful and emotional. And I think, I mean, it's definitely my standout from the album. Thank you for showing me this. This was incredible. I listened to Leslie so I listened to this album and I wasn't writing notes or anything like that, and I wasn't really paying attention. It was early in the week and I just kind of let it roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Leslie come on and I heard some of the themes that they were talking about in that album, in that song, and I was like, wait a second, I need to pause this because I'm not paying enough attention to this. And I love it when music does that to me, where it makes me pay attention to it. This was fucking great, dude. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and Leslie is Easy, my favorite, easily.
Yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10 as well. I like Psycho Location, and I agree with you. The whole like psychotherapist angle with it is good. I mean, I think we were kind of accustomed to that with like Tyler's early mixtapes too.
Right.
And it's a really good format. And I think you have to be a really good artist to pull it off now that great rappers have done it at a very high level. And he easily does it, man. Like you said, man, he just makes you pay attention. And that's such a rare quality in a rapper these days. And he's fucking phenomenal. We'll get to his second album in time, but I'm really glad this one was a little more your speed than the Stormzy one.
Yeah, I really really liked this one.
Good, man. Okay, you ready to move on to some Ahab?
You know I am.
Okay, we got Ahab with the Boats of Glen Carrig. Do you want me to go first or do you want to dive in?
I'm gonna go ahead and dive in.
Please do.
So there's a stylistic approach to this doom metal, and they really have a great time with their lyrics. I don't know if you had a chance to review any of their lyrics. I don't know if you cared enough to do that, but all of their music, all of their album titles, all of their song titles, all of their lyrics are about a little book called Moby Dick. And while a couple of bands have done concept albums behind that, notably Mastodon with Blood and Thunder, this band has just dedicated themselves to writing music about being on the open ocean and searching for a white sperm whale. And I gotta say that is extremely unique. I've been getting really into doom metal lately. In fact, I had a dude I met started talking to me about music, and we got talking about metal. He said he was a big metalhead, and I was like, bet, let's talk about it. And so we did, and he kind of blew my mind a little bit, talking about a whole style of music that I'll admit I ignored for a long, long time. And this style of music, doom metal, is something that I never really got into. And so I decided to kind of dive in. And there's a few bands that do it. Ahab is probably one of my favorites because of how just fucking ridiculous it is that they talk about Moby Dick in all of their fucking songs. They don't specifically say, Moby Dick or the sperm whale and, a number of their songs, but they're all surrounded around being on deck and having thunderstorms. And it's metal without a lot of boundaries. Well, with boundaries, but making those boundaries become unboundaryless.
Yes.
It's heavy. It's proggy. It is kind of everything I like about metal because it is heavy, and they take the time to not be heavy at the moments where it matters, and they really, really go all out when it needs to be heavy. And I am very curious about what your thoughts are, John.
What did you rate this?
I rated it a 7. I gave it a 7. My standout is The Thing That Made Search.
Interested. Okay. So back when I was in my metal phase, I had an idea for a band. And that idea was every song, the structure is build up, breakdown, pause. I found that band now. Like, I think I enjoy this style of metal maybe a little bit more than the Bleed the Earth style because it's got a little more rhythm to it. It's still grim, it's still sludgy, but they present it in an interesting way. The vocalist has one of the better low screams I've heard. It's super powerful. Side note, Howard, when he was in Killswitch, best live metal screamer of all time. Easily.
Man, I never got to see them at
Jesus Christ, man.
During
his high, his low, it was insane, man. That was insane.
It's funny. I actually test speakers with Rose of Sharon. So,
as you should, yeah. But anyways, back to Ahab. They are really impressive, really technical. To be honest, I was expecting them to be a little bit more one-dimensional for some reason. I don't really know why.
They have layers, bro.
They do. They're an onion, man. They're a blooming onion. I've never heard of them before this, but I just had a weird feeling, but I was completely wrong. They're not just creative. They're inventive a little bit, Red Foam has moments on it that remind me of Between the Buried and Me.
Yes.
They're super talented. And it's hard to win me over with metal, but this is a really good album. I also
That's
gave
why I
it a
threw this
7 out
album
of
on.
10, and Red Foam was my favorite.
Red Foam's a great song.
Fuck.
I will say that Pitchfork review of Undeath really made me think of actual unique metal lyrics. So for the people listening, Pitchfork did an album review on a band called Undeath, and where they talked about how unique it was that this band was talking about zombies eating people, and how, as a metal fan, I know that that's not unique at all. And so having a band that actually really goes into concepts and really talks about these conceptual kind of, like you said, they're really inventive, and they really kind of invented this whole aura around an idea. And as you know, I really like techno because of the rules, and what you can do within those rules really makes you stand out as a creative. And I think that Ahab kind of created their own rules and decided that they were going to stand out in their own rules. And I think that it's incredible, man. And I threw this album on because I was like, if there's any doom metal album that John is going to like, it's gonna be this one. So I decided to throw it on, and I'm not a huge fan of Ahab for a long time or anything like that. I recently discovered this band and album, and by recently I mean within the last 6 months or so, and I've been really into it, and I decided to throw it on because we were not starving for music, but we wanted to hear some new stuff. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we cover a lot of new music. It's fun to throw some classics and some curveballs on there once in a while.
Yeah, man, I agree. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did too. I'm glad that, because I was like, oh man, 15-minute song, 10-minute song, 13-minute song. I better fucking like this album.
They keep your attention for that long, man.
They
And
do.
That's
They
hard
do.
to do.
They're really
It is
good.
hard to do.
They're really fucking good. All right. Speaking of classics, we got one I threw on here, Mariah Carey's Emancipation of Mimi. This is my 2005 album of the year. What did you think of this? I'm dying to fucking know.
Okay. So you would ask me if I had ever listened to this album front to back, and I told you that I had not. By the way, just a little sidebar here. Going from Ahab to Mariah Carey is one of the best fucking things you can do if you're unfamiliar with our style changes from album to album. I recommend doing this one first. Listen to Ahab all the way through, and then jump into the Emancipation of Mimi. It's a great time. So I told you that I had not heard this album front to back, and turns out I super have. I recognized every song, not just We Belong Together or Shake It Off, but even like Get Your Number and Stay the Night. I had actually listened to this album before, so I am a fan of this album. There are a bunch of bangers, and there's some really great deep cuts. Say Something with Snoop is fucking great. Get Your Number, it's just a fun, really funky track.
Yeah.
I like this style of R&B because while there's ballads, they don't really hang around for too long. The whole album really kept my attention, and I maybe it's not that I like the style of R&B. Maybe it's more so I really liked the structure of this album in an R&B context. Gotta have. I mean, it's 2005, right? We transported back in time. Who are you gonna have feature on your album? Twista, obviously.
Yes. Incredible song, by the way. One and Only is just insanely good.
Absolutely
Twista
incredible.
is so good and so forgotten about that it's insane, man. He's top tier.
Him and Jadakiss, I think, were forgotten from that era.
Yes.
And the Neptunes. It says it's only featuring Nelly on To the Floor, but it's really the Neptunes. Her voice is basically unmatched. It's so beautiful. There are no skips on this album, John. This is a great album. This is a good album. I actually rated it an 8 out of 10. My favorite on this album is Shake It Off because it's just a banger. But yeah, man, that's how I felt about the Emancipation of Mimi.
Good, man. I mean, I knew you weren't going to dislike this album because it's fucking impossible to dislike this album. And when you said you hadn't heard it all the way through, I was like, I bet you he's going to like remember a lot more songs from this album once he hears them. Like Get Your Number has just one of those instantly like Oh my God, am I at a high school dance or something right now? Like
Right.
it's that type of jam. So this was produced by Jermaine Dupri and his crew right after Usher's Confessions. So they did these albums
Oh,
back to back, which is fucking insane, dude. Two of the greatest R&B albums of all time in back to back years, which like I don't think that's ever going to be matched, honestly. This is just insane, man. Like you said, it's no skips. The deep cuts are actually my favorite track is a deep cut, Stay the Night with it. That was produced by Kanye in
it's a good
like the
one.
late Registration era.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, you'll be able to tell if you go back for sure too. It's got like definitely that signature Kanye sound from around that time. This one's a 10 for me, man. All-time favorite of mine. I don't think it's her at the top of like her vocal prowess, but I feel like this is her best album back or front to back.
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad. Okay, let's wrap this month up with one. I asked you to kind of throw something on here to close the month out or week, I suppose, and surprise me. And you picked the Gutter Twins, Saturnalia. Do you want to know what I thought about this first?
I do want to know what you thought about this first.
So, other than what you told me about them on our last episode, I've never heard their music or even heard of them. It's really cool to discover them now and get to enjoy this album for the first time. But it's also one I feel like I kind of missed out on enjoying when it came out after hearing it. I was so deep in the emo scene at the time that I was ignoring a lot of the alternative rock scene. And obviously, I was aware of Sub Pop, but this was just never a release that made it in front of me. The album itself is great. I'm not really sure why it hardly has any plays on Spotify. It's definitely not reflective of the quality of album that this is. It's a great collection of songs that showcase not just great songwriting and musicianship, but a band made up of already successful musicians who just sound hungry and passionate, and it's kind of refreshing to hear. They still have things to say and they don't sound like they're going through the motions, which is usually the case with a lot of quote unquote super groups, I guess. And it's a shame that the untimely deaths of two of the members kind of cut short what was probably going to be a great discography. But I'm thankful that we at least got this album. This one's a no skips for me. My two favorite songs were The Stations because it's just a great opener and the strings are excellent, and
Great
Idle
opener.
Hands, obviously, because it just fucking rips.
It
And
rips.
yeah, I enjoyed this album way more than I thought I would for an alternative rock album. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I think I'm going to pick. Oh man, yeah, I can't pick a favorite between those two, but one of those two.
Fair, super fair. So this is the Gutter Twins. They are the love child of Greg Dooley of the Afghan Wigs and Mark Flanagan, who is best known for his work on the Screaming Trees. But Mark Flanagan was also the guitarist in a little band called Queens of the Stone Age when they first started.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they Mark Flanagan met Josh Homme when Josh Homme became a touring guitarist for the Screaming Trees, and apparently he was just doing Caius at the time, which is a great grunge stoner rock band. They have a great album called Welcome to Sky Valley. And I've been kind of like really into a lot of the 90s kind of shit that I miss. Because, like you said, we were into different things. We were teenagers. None of this shit really mattered to us at the time. But looking back on it, man, this album was released in 2008. This album is straight out of 95. And I think you and I both know that. It's definitely like, I actually think that this might be a great example of what alternative rock is. Because alternative rock for me is really difficult to define. Because some of it is just fucking rock music. Some of it is just indie rock. Some of it is grunge. This is alternative rock. This is rock music with alternative instrumentation and musicality and sonic styles. One thing that I know you picked up on, but you didn't mention, I know you love a good vocal trade-off. And I know that this isn't the place for it, maybe, or something you weren't expecting, but hearing Mark and Greg kind of trade off vocals and do harmonies, even especially towards like the later half of this album, is probably one of my favorite parts of this album, because they both have fucking great voices. I actually, unfortunately, Mark Flanagan passed away last month, who was, the second part of the Gutter Twins. So rest in peace, Mark. But lyrically, this album is incredible. Sonically, this album is incredible. We've got strings, we've got guitars, we've just got so many different styles that are all encompassed into this one beautiful piece of art. And unfortunately, it went under the radar, man. Just like you said, it got forgotten about. Nobody knows who the fucking Gutter Twins are. Nobody knows Saturnalia. Like it's kind of a bummer because, like you said, this is basically a classic. And I just recently learned about this after being a fan of the Afghan Wigs for like a handful of years. This is something that I just discovered this year. And so hearing this album now and realizing wow, this was important. This is an easy no skip 9 out of 10 for me, and I really liked 7 Stories Underground. That's a great song. Idle Hands is a close second for me because of how hard it rips, but I really like 7 Stories Underground because of the lyrical content and the kind of sonic exploration we get within those 3 minutes.
I agree, man. Well said. Well said. It's a album that's sadly forgotten about, and probably because 2 members are gone now won't have as many chances of being rediscovered. But I'm glad we got to show it some love and attention because
Same.
I enjoyed it, man.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it was funny when you had texted me, throw another album on here. I was actually listening to the Afghan Wigs at the time, and I was like, bet. Let's go. Let's talk about it. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but let's actually, I'm going to make you listen to this album because you needed to hear it. So I'm glad you really enjoyed it. I'm glad that it's a no skips for you because I knew it would be. And yeah, man, this was, it was fun to really write down what my thoughts were on it. So.
Yeah, I agree. And this was fun to talk about in general. Before we go, let's talk about what we got coming up this week. We got new album from Rex Orange County, as we mentioned earlier. Who cares? We got BENNEE the Butcher with Tana Talk 4. That should be fun.
Yeah, we do.
Lucky Day with Candy Drip. A new song tomorrow from Drugs called Satellites in Motion. And one I want to have a brief discussion right now, just get your initial reaction. We're getting a Cascade and Deadmau5 project, like a new group, K5.
That's
We're
right.
getting their first single. No, we have not. We're getting their first single called Escape this Friday. How fucking excited are you for this?
I'm super fucking stoked. One of my favorite comebacks from Deadmau5, of which there are plenty to look back on. You can just go to his Twitter and find him.
I already know what it's gonna be.
Somebody was talking shit about him, and he was like, "I don't give a fuck, bro. I'll play I Remember on repeat for 8 hours. You want to go?" I Remember and Move For Me are, in my opinion, one of Deadmau5's stronger songs. In my opinion, one of Cascade's stronger songs.
Those are definitive songs of the genre as a whole.
Absolutely. I mean, they are absolutely incredible. And so to hear that we have new music coming from them is automatically a hype.
They have not worked together since then, correct?
Correct.
In any official capacity, maybe a remix.
Capacity. They have both had residencies in Las Vegas, and they've both visited each other's pool parties or whatever.
Yeah.
None of that really fucking matters.
Move For Me and I Remember are the only 2 full collaborations between them, I think, in existence.
Yeah. I am excited for it. I'm going to try to keep my expectations as low as they can go, which is not low at all. They're going to be high. But only because I don't I'm not sure where either of them are at stylistically. We haven't heard anything really that
Okay.
Deadmau5 has been passionate
It's going to
about
be
for a long
house.
time.
It's going to be house music. You know that.
For
And
sure.
have you heard any of the like brief things on Instagram that I've been sharing from them?
I have
They've
not.
posted like these, you know, it doesn't get into the song, but you hear the tone of the song and the way it starts pretty much. And you just know, man, this is going to hit. This is going to be a good one.
All right. I'm excited for
Uh,
that.
yes, I would say be very excited. I think even above all these albums coming out this week, maybe not more than Rex, but this might be my most anticipated release for the week because that's going to be an event.
Yeah, man, you've got two of the greatest artists in that genre releasing music together. I mean, it's just going to be.
They should call their album "Watch the Throne."
honestly, honestly, Joel's really bad at album titles. So if we get to watch the throne in like
It would be called "Watch
not
the
really.
Throne" or something, yeah, like literally or something at the end, yeah,
Oh
or in
my
parentheses.
god.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we should leave it there, man. I'm excited to get into that. This was fucking awesome. As always, thank you all for listening. Please follow us on social media, like and subscribe to the video. You can find us on Spotify, on our website, on Instagram. Music by Anthony Reeder. Beautiful Smiles by Brandon May.
You know it.
Check us out next Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.